Hey there, everyone. It's GG Sober Sun. January 15th. Looks like the last storm that came through took out all the dunes, and they had to pile it back up. This whole parking lot's full of just sand, barely any blacktop. But still get this beautiful view, eh? Hey? It's nice. AA thought for the day. The AA program is a way of life. It's a way of living, and we have to learn to live the program if we're going to stay sober. The 12 steps in the book are like guideposts. They point the direction in which we have to go. But all members of the group have to find their own best way to live the program. We don't all do it exactly alike. Whether by quiet times in the morning, meetings, working with others, or spreading the word, we have to learn to live the program. Has the AA way become my regular, natural way of living? Yeah, I always, I've said several times that it always seemed like everybody got the manual when I was growing up, and I didn't get the manual. But I was expected to know what was in the manual and or act like I know what's in the manual. And then I drank myself into a state of hopeless mind and body, as it says in the book, and I was willing to surrender, and I got the manual. And it seems like the 12 steps are the manual for how to live a fulfilling life of service. And yeah, there's times when I haven't worked. You get people in the room sometimes who act like they know exactly how we're supposed to live this way of life, and they sound cocksure, and sometimes they get a lot of followers. A lot of people want them to sponsor them, and sometimes they'll, and there is a certain amount of creating the fellowship that we crave, buddies to hang out with, and people who think you're a swell guy and things like that. But at some where along the line it can become about ego and about how many sponsors I have and how many sponsors you have, and it's competition and bullcrap like that, and the longer I'm in, and the more I learn about the program, the more I realize how little I know. So my first fourth step, that talks about a searching and fearless moral inventory. My first fourth step was not very searching and fearless. It was a pressure relief type thing. First, fourth, and fifth step, where there were some things that I had done in the past that was really bothering me, and fears that I had that I really needed to talk to somebody about. And I found somebody that I related to in the rooms, and I asked him. I didn't ask him to be my sponsor. I just asked him if he would hear my fourth and fifth step, and thank God he was willing to do that. So, and I always say that it's been more about my relationship with my higher power that has kept me sober than any character asset that I might have, kind of thing. So I need to just stay humble. It's sort of like my higher power was what helped put together the crappy bricks of a program that was my effort, kind of thing. I am more, I guess, diligent these days about prayer. I'm more diligent about service work. And I'm working through the 12 steps in another fellowship, Adult Children of Alcoholics, with a fellow traveler, as we call it. You know, the guy's about 15 years my senior, you know. So it would seem weird to call myself a sponsor, right? And they use the concept of fellow traveler rather than sponsee because, and I probably already said it, so forgive me for repeating it, but sometimes things need to be repeated. The typical adult child of an alcoholic fears, has a fear of authority figures. And I've had sponsors who really lay on the I'm your supervisor and you're my subordinate kind of thing. And it was in that case it was a guy who kind of had this I do it the right way. If you don't do it this way, you're going to drink. He gave me some home truths that I needed to hear. And that's really why I chose that guy, because he knew the big book and he lifed it out for the most part. And, you know, at the time, I wasn't ready to hear it, but he told me, and this, you know, I'm kind of contradicting myself about my earlier statement, but I needed to hear it, and that's what I chose. You know, that he knew the big book. He called me on my crap. My self-esteem couldn't handle it at the time, but I told myself, well, I chose this, you know. And he told me, hey, you're letting your wife dictate your recovery and how many meetings you go to. That's not cool. And I wasn't ready to receive that at the time. And now, you know, in hindsight, she absolutely was. I was just okay with it because I was going to more meetings than I had in years. I was going to like 4 meetings a week because 3 of them during the week didn't impact her. They were meetings on my lunch hour that I could walk to. And then Saturday morning I would go to a meeting. So I was going to 4 meetings a week, and that was more than I had ever gone to. But he was right, you know, he was right. But again, going back to my point that, you know, every day we don't pick up a drink, we're in with a chance. Are we working the AA fellowship or the program? Are we working the steps? Are we working the principles? Are we mindful of the steps and the principles contained within? That takes time. You don't just automatically jump into it. But if you're trying to work it yourself, like an academic endeavor, well, then you're gonna have a hard time. That's why the 3rd step is the 3rd step, you know. But having said that, I believe people who are going to AA on the regular have pretty much done the first 3 steps. And again, I'm sure I've said this before, but it bears repeating. Step 1 admitted you were powerless over alcohol and that your life is unmanageable. We admitted we were powerless over alcohol and that our lives were unmanageable. People who come to AA consistently, right, get it. That's step 1. Step 2, came to believe that power greater than ourselves can restore us to sanity. You wouldn't keep coming back to AA meetings if you didn't think that AA as a whole could restore you to sanity. So there's step 2. AA as a whole or your local group is a power greater than you. So, and step 3, we turned our will and our lives over to the power of God as we understand God, right? Power greater than yourself. You surrender to going to regular meetings. That's a form of step 1, 2, and 3. It doesn't have to be overcomplicated, and that will change and deepen the longer you keep coming back. So keep coming back. Meditation for the day. I will relax and not get tense. I will have no fear because everything will work out in the end. I will learn soul balance and poise in a vacillating, changing world. I will claim God's power and use it, because if I do not use it, it will be withdrawn. Only from my perspective. Sorry, I had to interject there. As long as I get back to God and replenish my strength after each task, no work can be too much. I believe that God is working in us and through us 24/7. We don't have to acknowledge it for that to happen. Yes, we have free will. Absolutely. And the proper use of our will, as it says in the big book, is to conform our will to God's will. So, being mindful of that, and that becoming more and more each day, because we can't do it fully while we're in this earth suit, this meat bag, but we can continue to do it more and more each day. And so, yeah, I don't believe God withdraws his power. We withdraw our desire for access to it. We, when we're selfish and self-centered, bitter and resentful, we shut ourselves off from the sunlight of the Spirit, as it says in the literature. So don't do that. Prayer for the day. I pray that I may relax and that God's strength will be given to me. I pray that I may subject my will to God's will and be free from all tenseness. Yeah, and over the years, because of some medications that I was prescribed, my blood pressure's higher. I'm more sensitive to stress and stressors and things like that. Woke up this morning and my blood pressure was okay. I'm checking it more and more each day. And I'm more mindful of when I am tense. And I continue to pray for the ability to let go and let God. Sort of ragdoll inside. And then do whatever's in front of me with grace and dignity. That's all anybody can ask for, right? Keep coming back, y'all. Chin up, aim up, rise up. Love you.